Stop.
Backbuster of power! Rocket! What's going on, guys? Brent0331. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I hope you enjoyed the intro video. I had a lot of fun making it. This is going to be my scope review of the Primary Arms Platinum Series 1:8x24 first focal plane with Raptor M2 Reticle. This optic, guys, is just badass. All right, it is very much premium. All right, it's Japanese glass. It's just first rate. Unfortunately, it's a little bit higher on the price point, but if you're interested in a more budget-friendly optic, there is the 1:6 Raptor that my buddy Bruce is going to be running in this very same video. And it is just a phenomenal optic. I've already done a scope review on that. You can check that out. I'll have a link to that in the description box as well as in the comment section. But with that being said, guys, we're going to be talking about this optic today. We're going to follow my standard scope format, so I'm going to talk about the nomenclature of it first. Then we're going to move on to reticle explanation and going through some different features inside that ACSS, or Advanced Combined Sighting System, the different features in it that make it so wonderful. And then we're going to move on to actual practical application shooting portion of this video where we're putting some rounds downrange. All right. So without further ado, guys, thanks for watching, and don't forget to leave a comment.
Alright guys, so before we get to talking about the reticle inside this optic, I want to talk about the nomenclature. Just for comparison's sake, I have the 1:6 Raptor out here, which is the more budget-friendly alternative to this. If you're interested in this optic, I already have a video out on this, guys. This is an excellent optic, and this is the same optic that Bruce is going to be shooting with later. So again, if you're interested in that, go over to my video I've already done on this and check that out. And then I also have links that you can get a free mount with if you order through in the comment section. So excellent optic, guys, definitely a cheaper alternative. But let's go to what we're actually reviewing here, which is our Primary Arms Platinum Series 1:8x24 first focal plane with Raptor M2 Reticle. So starting off, guys, we have our rear diopter. Make sure you set that for your specific eye. Moving forward, we have our power ring. As you can see, it's on 8 magnification, which is your highest setting. To adjust that magnification, you would turn it counterclockwise to your lowest setting or any other setting in between, but your lowest setting is obviously your 1. That's for more close-in CQB oriented firing. To increase magnification, you would turn it clockwise, where it maxes out obviously at A power for your more distance related firing. Moving forward, you have your elevation knob and your windage knob, and then on the left side is your illumination setting for your reticle. To make adjustments on this, you have to pull the turrets up, and then you can rotate the dial. As you can see, they're very defined clicks, really easy to manipulate, and once you're done making your correction, you're going to push down, and that will lock the turret in place, so you don't have to worry about anything brushing up against it and moving the knob. Okay, once it's down and locked into place, nothing's going to move that until it's pulled back up. Your adjustments on this, so one click is 1/10 of a mil, which is 0.36 inches at 100 yards, so you can get some really finite adjustments there. So on the left side is your illumination setting for your reticle. You have two night vision settings, N1 and N2, and then it goes from 1 all the way up to 9. So 9 would be your highest, obviously, and then 1 would be your lowest. One thing I want to point out is you see these in-between marks. If you have it on the in-between mark, it'll actually turn the illumination off. All right, so that's a very cool feature, because in most optics, you got to go from 1, your lowest setting, all the way up to your highest or whatnot, and then you got to come all the way back down to turn it off. Right? For these, you just put it on one of those in-between marks, and it'll shut off that illumination. So that's a really cool feature. Underneath this cap here contains your standard 2032 battery. Those are really common. You get those at Walmart or whatnot, and it'll give you hours of usage. So excellent little capability there.
Alright guys, now it's time to talk about the best feature of this optic, and that is the Advanced Combined Sighting System, or ACSS Reticle. I have absolutely loved every variant of the ACSS that I have done a review on, because in my opinion, it's definitely the most utilitarian combat reticle out there. Let me first start by stating that this particular scope's reticle is tailored for the 5.56. However, if you utilize the zeroing charts found in the scope's manual, it lists the different ways you can zero your rifle to make it compatible for 5.45, 6.5 Grindle, and 308. As with most other versions of the ACSS reticle, this one is currently set in yards and not meters. However, if you prefer meters over yards, you'll be interested to know that Dimitri has already created a version of the ACSS in meters, and I'm positive we'll be seeing more optics offered in meters in the very near future. Now let's look at the outer ring of this reticle. The ring is designed for very close, quick target acquisition during close quarters battle. When magnification is set to the 1 power, the larger outer ring essentially acts much like a red dot. Just like other variants of the ACSS reticle, it has several features that assist with range determination of your target. The base of the chevron and the vertical hash marks of your bullet drop compensation, as well as the top of your vertical ranging ladder, are set for the average adult male shoulder to shoulder width of 18 inches. If your target's shoulders are the same width as the bottom of your chevron point to point, our target is approximately 300 yards away. The top of both vertical ranging ladders also are calibrated for the 300 yard shoulder to shoulder width. So use whichever one you prefer. Now look at the vertical bullet drop compensation ladder. Match up the corresponding hash marks with your target's shoulder to shoulder width. The one that fits is the estimated distance to your target. As you can see, you can estimate your target's range all the way out to 800 yards away. In this example I have right here, your target is approximately 400 yards away. In this example, your target is approximately 600 yards away. When you get out to the further distances, however, ranging them by shoulder width can get pretty tough, because it can be challenging at times to see whether or not there's any gap between the edge of your hash marks and the edge of their shoulder. One trick that I learned from Dimitri is when you're putting your horizontal hash marks on a target to estimate range, go ahead and move the hash marks all the way to one side. When you do this, it doubles the distance and the gap between the edge of the hash mark and one of the shoulders, which in turn makes it easier to see. Obviously, if you're using the right hash mark, then there'll be no gap and you have the right range. Now, in addition to utilizing the enemy's shoulder to shoulder width to estimate their range, you also have the capability of estimating them vertically by height. This method works by being set for the average adult male's height, which is 5 feet 10 inches tall. To use this method, you'd use one of the two vertical ranging ladders on the left or right side of your CQB ring. Next, you would simply place your standing target's feet on the baseline, which is the bottom of your vertical ranging ladder. You would then observe where your target's head corresponds with. You can do this to estimate your target's distance from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and all the way out to 800 yards.
When my buddy Bruce and I were in Las Vegas shooting with Dimitri, we actually did a practical application exercise where we ranged each other from 300 all the way out to 800 yards using the different features of the ACSS reticle. This vertical ranging feature is the one that I found to be the most effective. And despite there being a very decent size height difference between Bruce and I, we both found that our estimations were still very, very much on. Once you have acquired the estimated range to your target, utilizing one of these techniques, you would then simply engage them by using the corresponding mark on your bullet drop compensation ladder. So moving on from range estimation, I want to go back to the top of the reticle and talk about the two dots on the left and right side of your chevron. These dots are calibrated for where you would be holding when engaging a man who is running laterally while holding a rifle. It is said that the average man moving under those circumstances moves at a speed of approximately 8.6 miles per hour. So essentially, what you would do if engaging an enemy that is within 300 yards and moving under these conditions is fire your round once your target has reached its respective running dot. Once the round is fired, he and the round will connect in the same spot. Additionally, using the same principle, you can engage a walking target by firing once your target has reached the outside edge of your chevron. This works on the principle that the average adult male walking with a rifle moves at a speed of 3.1 miles per hour. So just like with the running dots, once your lateral moving target hits the edge, drop the hammer and your target and the round will meet. Another huge reason for missed shots comes down to wind. This reticle features pre-placed dots which are calibrated for where you should hold on a target with a 5 or 10 mile per hour crosswind at a respective distance. So after you have acquired an estimated distance to your target and you have an approximate 5 or 10 mile per hour crosswind, you would place the corresponding dot on their torso and engage. This feature greatly increases your capability of scoring a first round hit on target with the different variables that come into play when engaging enemy combatants on the battlefield. This reticle is very well thought out and it definitely increases the individual shooter's combat effectiveness. Before we move on to the practical application portion of this video, I want to share one more trick that I learned from Dimitri while shooting with him out in the Nevada deserts, and that is how he estimates wind. He does this by tying a small piece of yarn on the edge of his rifle.
And the third and very important thing is the wind. What the wind is doing is key. You could be the best shot in the world and miss and miss and miss due to wind. I started cheating and using a piece of yarn here. And you could tell from the angle here, we're about a 2.5 to a 3 mile an hour wind, blowing full value to the right. So that way I know to hold off, you know, on the left side of the target. If the wind started to get higher up, obviously we're at higher feet per second, so this would be about a 5. At 10 it would start to whip. You would see whipping of the yarn. And, you know, super lightweight, waterproof, free of batteries. Just a very easy, quick tip. This gives you the wind at your location, and when you're looking at the target area, you can see the mirage, and between the two, you can come up with a very good firing solution.
All right, guys, so this is the first portion of our practical application. This is going to be shooting from the 100-yard line. Both Bruce and I have already BZO'd our rifles from the 100. He's using the Raptor, the 6X model. I'm using the M2 Raptor, which is the 8X model, and it's going to be an interesting little practical application experiment here for us today.
Yeah, our rifles are very similarly set up. You're running a Colt M4 with a free float handguard and the more expensive primary arms Raptor optic, the 8X, and I'm running an Armalite M4 with a free float handguard and the less expensive primary arms Raptor 6X. So it's going to be a pretty good competition, I think. Our rifles are very similar.
Yeah, pretty much exact same rifle for the most part. Big price difference on the optics, though. Yeah. So we'll see. We got the same exact reticles in our optics. Again, I have an 8X. He's got a 6X. I'm going to do a little bit different here. I'm going to shoot 4 rounds of M193 55 grain ammunition. That's what I BZO'd my rifle with. Then I'm going to move on to 55 grain Wolf Gold ammunition. Then I'm going to shoot 62 grain M855 green tips. And then I'm going to move on. Bruce had some of this really expensive Federal Premium Gold metal match ammunition. How many grains is this?
73. I think it's a burger round.
Yes, 73
It's a
grain.
$1.50 a round, so we're going to split it.
Yeah.
You're going to shoot 3 rounds?
Let's go 4. I think I loaded
4
up
rounds? Okay.
Yes. 4 rounds. So I'm going to shoot 4 rounds from each of those different loads at the different targets. And we'll see how it performs. So I'm ready, man.
Let's do it.
All right. All right, moving on to the Wolf Gold, top right corner. All right, M855, bottom left corner. That's the federal match. Bottom right. You ready?
Yep. All right, guys. So I was running some cheap Privy Partisan 55 grain, basically their version of M193. I do need to do a slight adjustment down on my elevation, but this is my 4-shot group, and yeah, there's not a lot of adjustment to be made there. I'm just going to bring it down a little bit, but for Privy Partisan, yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. We're looking at 2 MOA. Doesn't get much better than that using Privy Partisan. I can't ask for much more than that. So yeah, pretty happy with it. Now let's get on to Brent's results because his are more interesting than mine.
All right, guys, so this was my results from the 100. Now, this is my very first group. I zeroed this rifle with M193, so that is fantastic. 100 yards right there, M193. Again, that's what I zeroed the rifle with, so that's pretty damn good from 100 yards. Now, obviously, the rifle was zeroed to that ammunition, and the other ammunition was not zeroed with this rifle. But I was going to look at groups to see what the results were. And actually, M193 outperformed everything else on this. So I believe this was the Wolf Gold here, and this right here was the M855. And then this was kind of surprising. This was that, you know, federal match grade ammunition, and the M193 actually outperformed all of them at the 100. So now we're just going to move it on to 200 and see how it performs back there. I think I'm just going to stick with M193 for the rest of the duration of this practical application, and see what we get from the 200-yard line. So that's it. Let's go. All right, this is 200-yard line. I'm going to be shooting 55 grain M193 ammunition. And Bruce, what are you shooting down there?
I've got 55 grain Privy Partisan.
Okay.
M193 also.
10 rounds. I'll be the target on the right. Bruce will be target on the left. Good?
Round's complete.
Go down range, check it out.
All right, guys. So we just finished up our course of fire. We shot 10 rounds at 200 yards from non-optimal shooting positions. We're kind of on this bank that's overgrown, but we wanted to get the full 200 yards in. And actually, I'm pretty happy with my results. This is Privy Partisan, 55 grain, full metal jacket. It was cheap ammo, and this being sort of a budget build idea for the rifle, I wanted to run the cheap ammo throughout the course of fire, and I'm glad I did. All 10 shots are hits. This is my group. And I don't know, what do you guys think? Probably 7 inches, maybe 6 inches, being the farthest distance apart. That's 3 to 3.5 MOA at 200. I can't ask for much more than that out of that ammo. I didn't expect to get more than 3 MOA. Yeah, there's definitely some shooter error here, no doubt about it, but this is fantastic. These are all center body mass hits from a non-ideal shooting position at 200. I'm actually really happy with that. I know some of you guys may be used to seeing these snipers shoot these little tiny groups and whatnot, but for just an average Joe like me, take a rifle that's sub $1,200 rifle and run out to 200 yards, lay down a group like that using cheap Privy Partisan ammo, I'll take it all day long.
What'd you think of the optic?
Well, the optic is where we're cheating because the optic is everything. The optic is like I'm shooting this group from 25 yards. This 6X with the ACSS Reticle, it'll absolutely spoil you. I don't have a whole lot of experience running optics like this. I've been more of a red dot guy throughout the years. You guys that follow me know this, but a scope like this, and we knew it when we were in Nevada and fired the first shots through it, this will absolutely spoil you. You can't help but smile when you get behind it. And it's like you're standing 25 yards away shooting at this target. I'm doing a lot of figure eight and a lot of moving around that you wouldn't normally notice on iron sights just because you're zoomed in so much. And I was just shooting off a bag, off a backpack. But thoroughly impressed with this Primary Arms 6 power Raptor. This is a fantastic optic.
All right, guys, so this is my results at the 200-yard line. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So they're all there. I'm actually very happy with these results. And I got to tell you guys, this 8X is just freaking phenomenal once you push it out, right? So I'm an ACOG guy. You know, I'm used to the 4X magnification in my ACOG, and having that 8X from way back there is just, it's just cheating almost. But that's pretty damn good. I put the base of the tip of the chevron right here on the red dot, and that's pretty much. I'm pretty happy with that, guys. So I guess we'll just move on to the combat engagement course and see how we do running and gunning with this. But so far so good. Ready on left.
Ready on left.
At the front. Covering! Move in! Set! Move in! Up! Cover in! Cover in! Move in!
Contact!
Contact! Move into contact! Turn to the right. Whew.
Yeah. All right, guys, so we just finished the combat engagement course, which is always a breather for a fat body like me. But we started out, everything went really well. I started out on 4 power on this 1 through 6 Raptor. We really discussed, we weren't sure like what we wanted to do, so it was a good course of fire to run because it kind of forced us to decide what setting do we want to be on. So I started out at 4 power. We had positions of cover. When I got down to about 20 yards maybe, I switched down to 1 power and used that thing where it's basically like a little donut at that point. It's basically a red dot. And the hits, the best I've ever done on this course, without a doubt. That's just fantastic. I slung this one and I knew it the second I slung it. And so that's not a bad thing. That was 100% me. But when the reticle was on, the rounds were on. And those are real good. I mean, every single one of those is a center body hit, with the exception of the one that I slung in the shoulder. But it's still on the bad guy, so we'll take it any day of the week. Rifle performed flawlessly. Optic performed flawlessly. Chest rig UW gear, did a reload out of that, still going strong. We always have to give him a shout out because we're loving his gear more and more the more that we get to use it. Yeah, I don't know what else to say, guys. It's a really good course of fire, had a good time with it, and super impressed with this Primary Arms 1 through 6 Raptor optic.
All right, guys, so that concludes the combat engagement course, and this is my results in it. And I gotta say that the optic is phenomenal. One thing I'm going to say though is with variables, like I started off with 8 power, and you know, just awesome back there at 100. You know, it's cheating back there with 8 power. But as you get closer, obviously the 8's too much. So I was trying to, you know, adjust that as I closed with the enemy. When I hit the first barricade, I believe I tried to move it down to at least like 6 or so. And then when I got to the next set of barricades, I tried to drop it down to 1. I would say that is the benefit of using something like an ACOG where it's a fixed 4 and you really just don't have to worry about it. But I will say though, when I got down to the movement, the fire maneuver here, dropped down to 1 power and shooting on the move. At 1 power, it's pretty much just like a red dot. It's, you know, you have that big red donut and you just put it on the chest and engage the targets at will. As you can see, all my rounds are right here, center mass in the chest. Didn't drop any, at least not that I'm aware of. And just, you know, slayed bodies, guys. I loaded up my magazines irregularly, so I didn't know when I was going to hit a reload. Unfortunately, I hit a reload right there in the shooting and movement part. But, you know, I had Bruce covering me, so I was able to knock that reload out and finish out the course. And pistol, obviously in the face, was good. And that's pretty much all I got, guys. This is a phenomenal optic, and I can tell you, you know, the one Bruce is running is like a quarter of the price of this one, and that, you know, I'm impressed at how well the regular Raptor works, and this thing is just, you know, it's premium. That's all I'm going to say, guys. The glass is premium, and it's just a phenomenal optic. I'm very, very impressed with it all day today. So hell, that's all I got, guys. I mean, that's pretty much it. Check out the links I post in the information box. If you're interested in either the scope I'm using or the scope Bruce is using, I got links there. You can get I think it's a free mount with this optic. Primary Arms is hooking up my subscribers, and you know, it's a real good deal. So thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to leave a comment.